Welcome to Turmeric and Tequila with your host, Kristen Olson. Questioning a better way, one gracefully disruptive conversation at a time.
Welcome to Turmeric and Tequila. I'm excited to be here with you today. As always, we have an exciting health, wellness, and podcasting pro in the house, which we always love having Pod Fam in here. Before we get to our very special interview, I want to give a shout out and some love to our sponsors, our very own Colorado Clownfish Swim School, swim lessons and water safety training for all ages. They believe in life skills through sports. So go waterproof your family today. They are doing incredible things. And we have our very own Declan James watches. They are local and veteran owned with 10% of their proceeds going back to the Navy SEAL Foundation. So go check them out. Without further ado, I want to welcome MJ Renshaw to the TNT mic. Welcome, MJ.
Thank you so much for having me. If you guys hear background noise, I have a puppy in the room with me who is a menace to society.
So this is a perfect Turmeric and Tequila balance because we're going to talk about like breath work and balance and all things mental wellness. And then we'll just have him in the background just effing it up.
I'm going to test you.
Yeah, exactly. Are you listening? Well, here's a quick 4-in-1 on MJ. She covers a bunch of stuff, and I'm really excited about all the energy and intuition because if you listen to TNT, you know that's my vibes. But here's her quick bio. She's a breathwork facilitator, podcast host, author, and founder of the Being Method, a science-backed spiritual education platform that teaches students to heal and reconnect with their bodies through breathwork. Her book, How to Cry, explores the powerful science behind the emotional release of crying. We're going to talk about a ton of emotional wellness today, somatic healing. I recently had a breathwork experience that was super awesome, and I didn't know how good it was. And I've done all things human optimization because of my athletic and work background. But we're going to lean in. So before all that, MJ, tell us about you as a young human. I think who we are is written in the stars very early on. It takes us a while to unpack it, but tell us about you as a kiddo.
Okay. I feel like I was, very normal girl, like a horse obsessed, loved mermaids, like, just a normal girl. Oh my God, he is gonna, hold on guys.
Video. We'll take it on the audio, but we'll leave it in the YouTube video.
Animal lover, hence
yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? I had a really rough start. I love my parents so much, but they just had a rough start as well. And there was a lot of generational trauma going on. My dad was sexually abused when he was 15, and then he struggled with drugs most of my life. It was not, it wasn't a very safe environment, not a very comfortable environment. We're talking like my mom had a bag packed and sometimes we would go sleep at a shelter. And then my mom was such an angel. She managed to get us out of that environment. Unfortunately, shortly after that, my big brother died in a car accident, and then my dad ended up relapsing and killing himself. And it was just and on top of that, I was being sexually abused. And it was just a night. When I tell you I had a rough childhood, I mean rough childhood, 9 out of 10 on the ACE score. Watching your dad be arrested and go to prison kind of childhood. And yeah, just a rough start. And so, a lot of my 20s were spent just trying to heal from that, trying to figure it out. When I think back to who I was when I was, 20, 21, 22, I had all the same dreams that I still have today. I wanted to be an author. I wanted to help people. I just didn't even know how to do anything myself. So I went on an immense healing journey, went and stayed at the ashram, got breathwork certified when I was pretty young. I tried MDMA therapy, just doing all the things where you're just I just want to figure this out. I want to feel safe in my body. I want to connect with people deeply and trust them. I want all my chronic illness symptoms to go away, because that's a big thing for people who have experienced trauma young in life or even older in life. We know that there's such a huge connection between trauma and chronic illness symptoms. So, a part of it was just going on my healing journey, and this kind of led me to where I am today. I have a big business, for 7-figure business, helping thousands of people heal with breath work. We do every single type of technique that you could possibly imagine, because we do we start from like a physiology basis. So I'm not a prescriptive person. I don't think techniques are the answer. I think I want to look at you as a person, understand how you breathe on a day-to-day basis, what you're looking for in life, and how can we change the way you're breathing in order to facilitate a change and a healing experience for you. And yeah, that's kind of my that's my trauma dump on you guys.
I love well, thank you for sharing that. It's this is why I love podcasting so much, because you actually can hold the space to facilitate a conversation and get into some of the details, and not this 30-second or 2-second, TikTok line by line what to do thing.
Yes.
But I really appreciate you sharing that, because you never know who's walking around with what in this world. And it's a continuous practice to hold space and empathy for all people, because you just never know the fires that people have walked through or are walking through. And when we do have time to unpack it or learn about someone, I think that is just such the silver lining of how we can help others and relate with other people. And I think it's very beautiful and serendipitous that your journey started so hard, and now it's been very indicative and inspiring for you to help others. But there's a lot to unpack here, because you hit on a lot of things we cover on Turmeric and Tequila, from health and wellness and human optimization, but to safety. I think that's a huge conversation that's largely overlooked. But what I'm really fascinated are pivot points. And I'm very passionate about our young people, longtime coach, what have you. And there's a lot coming out of young people early through social media and everything else, let alone just family adversity. But how do you think you had the ability to maintain faith in people and not go down the path of drugs, alcohol, sex, or some of the easier outlets, versus like you wanting to heal? I'm always fascinated by people choosing the quote unquote right path versus choosing the easy path.
I chose the wrong path.
Okay.
I did. Like I did many silly things. I sold drugs for a while. I attempted suicide. Like I let life kind of beat me down.
Mhm.
And I think when you stay in a rock bottom for so long, my mom said this thing to me one time. She was really upset with me about what I was doing with my life, and I struggled with a eating disorder for a really long time, and I was very thin and in her bathroom, and she kind of took my face and pointed me in the mirror. She said, "There's only 2 ways out of this. You go get help or you die."
Mm.
And that was like, my mom's a very tough love kind of woman, and I love her for that. I love tough love now. But at the
Yeah.
time, I was kind of shocked, and then I thought about it and I thought, "You know what? She's right. Those are the 2 ways out. Like, I've gotta get it together." And it wasn't, I had this huge spiritual awakening and all of a sudden every single habit I'd ever had changed overnight. I don't have that story. I had to claw my way back to life, and I still am today.
Yeah.
I've still got my little idiosyncrasies that I do when I'm dysregulated. Sometimes I'll scroll on TikTok and I'm like, "Why am I doing this?"
Mhm.
It's because I feel unsafe and I'm just trying to escape, right? So my whole, my book is about this, how to cry, how to get back into your body, back into feeling so that you can be here for your own life. I mean, I think if everybody listening to this were to, even if you're into human optimization to the 10th degree, you've probably got some little things that you do in order to escape. Maybe it's not, drinking 5 beers every night. Maybe it's, spending too much money.
Mhm.
Whatever it is, everybody's got a different thing. I definitely have some things, and I know every single person in my life does. I think it's so common, and I think, yeah, I just love hearing people's stories where they're like, I had to really work at it. I had to really work at it, and I
Yeah.
just changed one thing at a time.
I love that. And that's so important for people to hear, because whether you're battling, like you're training for a competition or you're training to get through to the next day, like everything really is one piece at a time. And I feel like our society really champions these grandiose gestures or big pivots or big movements. And it truly is just this one little step at a time. And if we can continue to discuss that and digest that fully, even as we grow older and we know and we're wise to the game, we've learned lessons time and times again, it's that consistent reminder that we truly are in this human experience, and it never ends. Like the learning and shifting never ends, and that consistent grace with ourselves of just relax. It is one thing at a time. Things are still changing positively, even when they don't look like they are. And we do have some chase.
Just like one step in that direction, and
Yeah.
they all add up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I couldn't my book just hit best-selling status, but that
A
could never have happened if I had hit that goal right away.
Mhm.
I had to have all these little, you know, micro failures or all these little step backs. Like all of them were there. I don't want to say for a purpose, but kind of for a purpose. And
Yeah.
I think it's okay to F up. Like it's okay to mess up.
Totally. Totally. Well, and I think like, I mean, as a basic example, as an athlete, if you're not consistently failing, you're not getting better. Like you need to miss
Exactly.
lifts or miss shots or whatever. And like that's part of it. It's a very easy go-to example that's like, oh, okay, I can relax. Like we know that this is working. I do want to talk about how these emotions facilitate and manifest in the body. As an athlete, I do think the universe, I say God, universe, no matter whatever you believe, has a very sick sense of humor. And there's certain things that they'll
Mhm.
make you figure out and laugh at. But I was competing and I was in a situation where I was, angry about it. So my liver, while I was working with this company to do like optimization tests, like my liver was popping high on like enzymes and all. I'm like, what's going on? I'm healthy. And, liver's associated with anger. And that was like my first experience of like, oh, it's not anything I'm eating or drinking or doing. It's like, this is emotional. So tell me about your experience about how this perhaps, um, emotions physically manifest in you, like you said, in chronic illness, and how that kind of led you on your journey to your awareness and now in your teaching and breath work.
Yeah. So I studied osteopathy. I dropped out before I finished, so I'm not an osteopath, but that's kind of what I studied. I was working with patients. We start working kind of while we're in school. And a lot of people, like, I could see the connection between what was going on with them and their emotional well-being, the things that they were saying to me, the stories that they had. Um, and I couldn't help them. And that led me to drop out and be like, I want to do breath work. Like, I want to help people have the experience I did, where you're like crying on the floor, being like, oh, this feels amazing. Like, I feel like I'm releasing something from my body. And that's exactly what the research shows us. So, there's an entire field in medicine called psychoneuroimmunology. Psycho meaning the thoughts that you're having, neuro meaning your brain, and then immunology meaning your immune system. So, we now have research that shows things like if you carry grief, you're more likely to get cancer.
Mm.
And I don't mean like if you're grieving, I mean if you're not letting yourself grieve. You mentioned liver and anger. That's more like traditional Chinese medicine, not my specialty. So I can't speak to
Okay.
different organs holding different emotions. I don't know the research on that, but I can speak to diseases, autoimmune conditions and the likelihood of you getting them if you're someone who is really resentful. Maybe you're a people pleaser and you say yes to a lot of things when you really want to say no. Um, we have studies that show you're more likely, if you suppress emotions, you're more likely to have mental health disorders, you're more likely to commit suicide, you're more likely to get cancer, you're more likely to have autoimmune conditions. The list goes on. And if these are some in the US, these are some of the top things that cause mortality, which
Wow.
is shocking. So if
Yeah.
we put the whole picture together, we're looking at the possibility, this study's never been done, but the possibility that, heart disease, cancer, autoimmune conditions, addiction, suicide, some of the top things could be from emotional suppression.
Hmm.
And
Absolutely.
likely a bunch of other things, but
Oh, for sure. For
but
sure.
there is a driver there, and it's something that society's not looking at. We champion emotional suppression.
Hmm.
"You're too much. You're too sensitive. Boys don't cry." We've got a lot of that, and it's killing us.
Absolutely. And I'm one for the woo and the energy, but I love that you like go in depth on the science because I think people need that to lean in and trust, especially if it's new. But I would say, and I'm curious on your take on this, but even if you're new to energy, breath work, or whatever, just the consistent practice of advocating for yourself and knowing when something just doesn't feel right. And I feel like that is always our first step one in awareness of paying attention to our body. But I'm curious, as a coach and a facilitator, like what are your first steps of advice if someone's like, I'm continuously sick or I know this is off, but like
Mhm.
that conversation of mind body connect is new. What is like your entry level conversation or process of like getting someone to understand how much control they really do have over their mind and their body?
Kristen, you said the answer in the question, and you said it so brilliantly. Starting to listen to your own body.
Mhm.
I mean, I kind of gave a little rant at the beginning of this about how I don't believe in breathwork techniques because I think a lot of them, people do 369 or whatever, and they'll say everybody should do that. That'll feel good for some people, terrible for other people.
Yeah.
But if you teach someone to know what feels good for themselves, what does it feel like when you're in a parasympathetic nervous system state? What does it feel like when you start to feel a slight agitation? What was it? If you start to become so present with yourself and feel so safe in your body, a lot of us are very disconnected from our own bodies, but our bodies are talking to us.
Hmm.
And if you can start to listen to that and block out the noise of what TikTok says you should do, this Instagram person says you should do, your mom says you should do, sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. But in reality, you are a unique manifestation of God or the universe here with a body experiencing this planet, and you've got your unique journey to go on.
Hmm.
And it's going to be different for every single person, every single body. So if you can tune into what you need and follow your own intuition with that, it's going to be a shorter journey for you.
Amen.
So
It's yeah.
start with yourself and know that like you are miraculous. People heal from wild things all the time. I'm never going to be the type of person to say that something cannot be healed. I think it can. But people are doing miraculous things every single day. And the closer you can get in connection with your body to know if something's not right for you, if something is, your healing's going to be faster.
Yeah. Yeah. I think too, just it's enough to want to heal. Like maybe you don't know the path and you don't, and again, I'm somebody in this space, like I have access to things, I have privileges, but still, at 44 on my own healing journey, I'm still learning things and learning stuff about myself. So I think if you can just hold space to ask the question of like, I want to know more, I do want to heal. I do think the right things will come in, and just even that open-mindedness. Do you have any sort of coaching or pro tips there if people are like kind of on the edge, but they're just apprehensive about all of this?
I think if they're listening to this, they're probably already there.
Hey,
You
hey,
know?
I hope so. Yes,
Um,
yes.
I would just say the healing journey never ends.
Yeah,
It is a constant unfolding. The one thing that you will find is that it gets fun, like, it gets more
yeah,
fun. Um, and it is the journey really is the beautiful part of it. I don't think there's gonna come a day where I'll stand at the top of a mountain and be like, "That's it. I'm healed."
yeah.
There's always gonna be things. You may have moments where you think that, and then a trigger is gonna come basically the next day.
That's what I said. Universe has a sixth sense of humor, so it's
Exactly,
like it
exactly.
will. Mother Nature is the queen of all, so you will
Yeah,
be checked at every point.
yeah,
Tell me. Oh, keep going.
I was just gonna say this, the sooner you can enjoy the ride and kind of
Yeah.
like you're saying, I love the idea of thinking of the universe as having a sense of humor, like, I love gamifying life. It to me, like, the things like The Matrix or it's just a video game, like, I really truly believe that,
Yeah.
and it's been really helpful for me to not take it so seriously.
Yes. Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, it is short and a lot's happening. And when you do kind of slow down, which is probably my biggest weakness, and being patient, second biggest weakness, you do start to see little signs or details or things that are coming through, like little affirmations, that things are working in your favor, even when it's really, really, really hard to believe in that. Do you have any sort of faith base or religious base or anything that pulls you back down or helps you stay grounded?
I'm not religious, but I do believe in God. I'm a big God girl, and I actually do love some scripture. I
Okay.
really love I don't know if it's in the Bible or just a quote, but I love that quote that says, God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called.
Hey.
You are going to be put through the SHIT that you need to go through in order to do the things that you need to do in life. Like, I
Mhm.
really believe that we are here to make the world a better place. And I'm going to say something blunt, but I think it's really selfish when we don't act on it.
Yeah.
You got to
Yes.
take the lessons that you've learned and use it to help other people. That's what we're here to do, period. And that's what I'm just trying to do. Because I can't be in a world where it's a different way. So
Right.
I'm just trying to think all the things I had to go through are going to help me help someone else. And they do, right? Like, I'm able to connect with someone else who's gone through something similar and say, like, hey, I know where you're at right now. I've definitely cried on the floor a lot. I've believed that things were hopeless and that bad things just happen. God doesn't care about me. And that's not how I feel today.
Yeah.
So I would just
Yeah.
say, yeah, I would just say that's kind of how where I go back to is that I'm being qualified.
Hey, I love that. Amen. We're very much in alignment. I think most of my humans that come on here have some version of their own religion or spiritual practice or some sort of belief in something bigger than themselves. And I always think that's more than enough. But I love the through line of personal accountability, no matter how bad it gets or how unsafe it feels. We have a choice to try and show up with that one step at a time. And that's why we wear our varsity pins over here. It's about personal responsibility and accountability and including advocating for yourself,
Yeah.
because you have to continue to find that space and then find your purpose and living a life of service. I think
Yeah.
that is really what keeps us grounded and moving forward.
Yeah, like I used to run around our backyard dressed as a princess with a sword, and I'm not gonna let her down.
Hey,
Like you got to
yeah,
go back to that inner child. Like they thought that they were a superhero here to save the world.
yep.
And then something happened. When we forgot that belief, but that person's still inside you. That child's still inside you. And if you've got a big dream and you want to go out there and help, make this world a different place, I think a lot of people do. It's totally within reason.
Completely agree. And everyone has such a different, unique experience. We all need to be coaches at one point because not everyone can relate to everyone else. So it's nice when you have a multitude of different kinds of coaches coming through and resonating with different people.
Mhm.
I do want to talk about the breath work because it's very ironic and perhaps serendipitous that about a month ago, I went to a business summit in Boulder. And then ironically, we had a breath work that night. So it was literally like turmeric and tequila juxtaposition it all in one day. And the breath work, I went with a friend. I didn't know what it was going to be. I was kind of not focused and I went in and it was really like a life-changing experience. And at this point I've done a lot of shit. So it kind of, I feel like takes a lot. So way more than I thought. But as you said, like the music and the playing, and I won't fully unpack it, but tears and like visions. And I felt like I was on drugs. I'm not a big drug doer, here for it if that's your vibe. But it was really wild. So tell us a little bit more about your method and how people can not only experience it, but become their own facilitators.
Yeah, I love that you said that. A lot of people do liken some breath work to a psychedelic experience. And I think it's amazing because it's just so safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love psychedelics myself. I've
Yeah.
tried some of them. They're great. They're life-changing. There
I
are
just ordered some, but yeah, carry on.
there's contraindications, sometimes it's unsafe. So breathwork's great in that because if it's going too far, you just start breathing differently.
Mhm. Yeah.
But you can get high on your own supply. And there's fascinating research behind what is happening. But at the Being Method, we teach that. So any type of breath work where you're breathing more fast, you're probably breathing rapidly.
Mhm.
That's a sympathetic breath work. So you're going to put your body into a sympathetic state. Not a bad thing. We have things, yeah, especially in the health and wellness kind of industry, called hormetic stress. Running, exercising, cold plunges, saunas, fasting, all of them are hermetic stresses, which are stress in the short term in order to increase your resiliency. People I mean, I get emails all the time of people being like, "I processed this thing. All this trauma came up. I had no idea that was in there." Like, if you wanna get to the depths of your soul and know what's going on in there, sympathetic breathwork is gonna take you there. It can be a little bit uncomfortable sometimes. But I'm a big shadow work person. I think if you wanna get to the love and light, you're gonna have to go through all your shame, all your anger, all your resentment, all your sadness, and it's not bad, right? Our
Right.
emotions are just feelings. They're a biochemical process happening in your body. It doesn't mean anything about you or the world around you to have a feeling. And a lot of us will block out the bad ones, quote unquote bad ones, in order to like, I don't want to feel that. I don't want to feel my grief. I don't want to feel that shame. But in doing so, you're going to block out the good ones,
Mhm.
right? So I really love breath work for that, for just opening us up to be like, here's what you've been storing in your body.
Yeah. I
Here's
love
how
it.
here's your body. Like, look at it. Don't feel shame
Mhm.
about it. Be with it. But that's sympathetic. We also teach parasympathetic, which is slower breathing, can put you into a parasympathetic state. Amazing for people who want to boost their white cell count, people who want to boost their immune system, people who are dealing with, chronic fatigue, any sort of chronic health issue, anything to do with the digestive system, amazing for it. So there's a breathwork technique for everything, anybody. I think I haven't met a person yet on the planet that wouldn't benefit from some breath work in their life. It's
Yeah.
universal. We all breathe. 97% of us breathe incorrectly. So it's yeah, it's pretty amazing.
It's powerful stuff. And like you said, it's so safe. Like you can just change your breath or open your eyes or come back down. But on the flip side, I was blown away with how impactful it was. Like visions that I saw, like you said, if you're going to go through it, or if something's there to be unpacked, like it's going to come up. And it certainly did. And I would offer advice of like, the shadow is always hard, like navigating things. Everyone's gone through different things. But every time I've gone through something from my own experience, I will look back and be like, God, that was hard, but I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I walked in, and it wasn't probably as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like the fear before it was worse than walking through it. Does that resonate at all?
Yeah, yeah, I think it probably depends on the person and
Yeah.
the situation, but I mean, I had a therapist one time say to me, "Going back and looking at what happened is not gonna be worse than it happening itself, and you already lived through
Right.
that.
Right.
So go process it."
Yeah.
And, the number that they give for how long it takes us to process an emotion is 90 seconds. So
Wow.
if you're scared of my dog, he's processing his
Amen.
emotions
Yeah.
right
I
now.
was gonna say.
But, you know, if you're scared to cry and really let yourself cry, just know it's only gonna be 90 seconds probably.
Yeah.
Um, but the pain, the juice of life is in that pain. Because once you take that cloak off, it's all love under there.
Mm.
It's all love.
I like that. The juice of life. Okay, so tell us a little bit more about the book and why focus on crying of all the emotions? Like, why was that the big one? Like, tell us about that,
It
and then
was
who is this ideally for?
it was a big one for me. I was emotionally stunted, I'll say, for a really long time. I was totally numb. I did not cry. I didn't let myself cry. I didn't cry around other people. I just was numb. Like I all the stuff that had happened, I had no idea how to process it. In the book, I tell a story about, taking acid and in university as you do, and just, feeling all the emotions and crying and just being like, wow, I feel so much better. And that kind of gave me a hint where it was like, I haven't been letting myself feel my life at all. And I haven't been feeling sad or I haven't been feeling angry or my grief, but I also haven't been feeling good. Like I haven't been feeling joy or an elation and love. And I've just been on a healing path to feel.
Mhm.
I know a lot of people relate to that. We get messages about the book all the time. From men saying that they didn't let themselves cry for years, and then they do our breath work and they start crying and they realize that there was some unprocessed stuff in there. I
For
think
sure.
I always think about men in particular because of my dad, and we've got the male loneliness epidemic and suicide for men. I know people joke about it online, but it's pretty serious. 75% of our suicides are men. There was a study that came out in 2024 where they were asking young men questions, and 3 in 4 young men said they felt like no one knew them.
Wow.
That's sad.
That's
That's
horrible.
sad that
Yeah.
we have that happening to them. Part of it is our algorithms, all the culture, but I think for me, the book was I want people to feel safe to feel. And I want them to know that vulnerability and processing your emotions and letting your trauma out of your body is good. It's a good thing. It's for strong people, it's for courageous people. It's how we connect intimately as human beings. If you want to connect deeply with someone else, you have to be able to know what emotion you feel and hold space for them to feel their own emotions. Um, Emotional intelligence is something that's lacking, but something that is so important not only for our own personal wellness, but also just success, right?
Mhm.
It's yeah, I just saw it as a missing piece in my life, so I wrote a book about it.
I love it. Well, it cannot be more on time. And I think the upside of social media is like our kiddos, and I have so much faith in our young people, but our kiddos can access some of this intel for better or for worse earlier, but at minimum can then start to ask the right questions and then navigate the space different than we did because they grew up with it, and they can see through bullshit faster. They can, see who they trust or whatever. That's why we talked about, like, I don't really edit a lot because you can love it or hate it. This is what it is. And it's not prefabbed or designed or anything, like it just is. Um, but they can have access and then navigate it and then find the right tools. And I think the more we're talking about it and normalizing, crying or emotions, I do think it's the easier it makes them to come through and talk about it within their own groups or follow that right influencer or whatever it is. Have you gone on like men podcasts, like where, like, it's mostly men, or have you like specifically addressed that community in your own work to start to facilitate that conversation further?
Yeah, yeah, it was speaking of, the universe or God being like a joker,
Mm.
I went on to a big podcast that hasn't been released yet. It was with a man. Most of the listeners are men. The man who was before me was Adam Fiertes, who is the most
Okay.
canceled man in America. I don't know if you
He's the
know.
most what? He hated man?
Canceled man.
Oh,
Um,
cancel man. Okay.
yeah, he's been deplatformed on everything. I don't know too much about him,
Okay.
but he's, very, just an advocate for a lot of violence against women.
Oh,
And
okay.
then a
Oh, is
couple
this that
people.
misogynist guy? I think
Yes.
I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about. Yeah.
and then a
Yeah.
couple people after me was Andrew Tate.
Okay.
And I'm
Wow.
in there being like, "It's okay to cry." But really, you know what I mean? Like, if we think
Yeah.
about I don't know those guys too well, so I can't speak to them or their character. All I'm looking at is clips online, and I don't think
Sure.
that's fair to judge people on that. However, if you've got someone who's advocating hate for someone else, I can bet you that they have an emotion they suppress. You know what I mean?
For
Most
sure.
people I know who are emotionally intelligent, they're not out there hating.
Totally.
They're
Totally.
here to make the world a better place. They are loving people. So for me, like, that was just a sign I'm in the right spot because
Mhm.
this is who I need to be talking to. People who might fall victim to also hating. We're not
Right.
here to hate.
Right.
We are
Well,
here to love and get curious. You said at the beginning of this episode, Kristen, about how important it is to, you know, not have a 30-second clip. Get
mhm.
curious about someone's background. Where did they come from? What are they going through in life? What do they actually truly believe? I'm such an advocate for that. I'm so against the polarization of anything anymore. I don't want to have a group of people that I hate. I don't care if you're
Wow.
vaccinated, how you vote. I don't care. I want to get to know you, and I actually just want to enjoy you and like you because I'm sure you've got a story.
Totally. I echo that on every level because regardless, like how you said, how you vote, what your choices are, I care about your core values. Like, what are we really
Exactly.
doing at
Yes.
this space? And I think those, I'll say those humans, but really in my mind, they're performers, longtime marketing and branding professionals. So we've done everything with influencers. A lot of that's clicks and performance and strategic marketing. And I actually think our young people, even if they tune in and watch it, I do think you're influenced by your environment no matter what. But I think they look at it as entertainment versus actual influence
I
in their
hope
own
so. I
lives.
mean,
I
the
really
studies
do.
on mental health for young people are not great.
No, they're
You know?
horrible. They're horrible.
So I hope so. I hope
I
so.
I don't think I mean, there's 2 sides to it. I would never advocate to have more of this, but when it's out there, I genuinely do believe our young people, a lot of them see through it and don't believe it. Like, if you see a hateful person, of course, there's gonna be some that buy in and, wear the brand, but a lot of them are like, "Oh, this guy is just an asshole," or like, "I can't believe you said that, da 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 da," like, hashtag Kanye, like, all the things,
Yeah.
like, these are real performance-based individuals, and they're addicted to the likes and whatnot, so yes, and I do have faith that our young people, I mean, even if your that podcast host was intentionally getting you on alongside these 2 people, they know what they're doing. Like, that's clearly poking the bear. We'd say like graceful disruption. Like, they're out there. So I love that you were in it. And I have faith that people will have the reaction you did where they're like, okay, like the irony here
Yeah.
is clear
I
and
think there's
we
this
see her.
thing that happens in your body where when you hear truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's so and this just goes back to how important it is to process your emotions and not store it, because that clickbait, what it's working on is the emotions you've suppressed. If you have suppressed anger or shame, that stuff's gonna work on you. You're
Yeah.
gonna get in there, you're gonna feel an emotional reaction because you don't know how to process your emotions, so you react to things so quickly, and then you're gonna get in the comments, and you're gonna start arguing with people, and what has happened is that your nervous system has been hijacked by someone else so that they can monetize you,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
They're making money
Yes.
off that. It's not what they believe.
100%.
They don't care. They're putting out something to get people arguing in the thing, to get lots of views so that you show it to someone and be like, "Look how stupid this is," yada, yada. And they have just monetized people's lack of emotional intelligence.
Yep.
If you're someone who is, like, grounded, centered, you're gonna look at that stuff and you're not gonna give it the time of day. Because what the truth is that we're here to love. And when you hear that from someone, I think everybody could admit, like, you just feel like this, like,
Yeah.
in your body, because that's the truth. Love is the truth, right? All the other stuff is just noise. And this, I love
100%.
breath work for this because it brings you back into your regulated state so that you can get going on the path that is important
There you go.
and less noise.
Yeah, I could not agree more. Truth has a frequency, and I think that's kind of the conversation in its simplest form. And then on the business side, I always say this, like, don't be the product. Like, if it's free or something else, like, you are the one being monetized, like you said. Like, just even if you agree or disagree or like the entertainment, just know that they're making money off you. So get out of there. So you're not getting paid for your time and energy or attention. So get away from it. Um, I do want to, we got a couple more questions and I'll let you run. I have so many good ones because we could touch on so many different things. And I know you've done a ton of podcasts, interviews, and conversations, but is there anything that you want to share or a story you want to tell or anything that anyone has not asked you prior where you're like, this has never come up, but I want to share this? Does that land at all?
Oh gosh.
To
No,
put
like
you on the spot?
I'm such a loudmouth. I'm usually I'm usually
Well, you're a calm
oversharing.
one.
I'm usually oversharing. What's something that someone, no, I usually just I say it all.
Okay.
I just it's okay to cry. And if you're someone who cries a lot already, you're doing great. I
Yeah.
get I get asked that question a lot. Like, I cry all the time. Don't apologize for it.
Yeah.
You're not taking up too much space and you're not too much. It's good to cry. It reduces your cortisol. It is
Yeah.
very good to cry. When you hold back a cry, you increase your cortisol. So it's
Let
a
it
form
go.
of detoxing.
Let it flow. Yeah, it has been coming up. I've been kind of in this intentional journey as of late, and well, kind of always, but especially right now. And it's going through it, and like tears will just happen, and I've kind of let go of why I'm crying, and I just sometimes just roll with it. It might be a good song. I might be exhausted. It might be something that who
That
knows
is
what.
actually a great Kristen, you doing a great job here.
I'm here for you. I'm here for you.
But that's a good point. I get asked that too. Like, would do I have to figure out why I'm crying? No, it could be generational. You could
Yep.
be shedding tears that your great great grandmother didn't shed. We know that we do carry generational trauma. The
Oh
studies
my
are there,
gosh.
the science is there. It's not just a woo woo thing.
Yeah.
We've done all the studies on the Jewish descendants of people who were in Auschwitz. It's awful. It's
Mm,
awful. If people in your lineage went through trauma, you got some healing. You got to
yeah.
help them heal.
Yeah.
And the good news is it doesn't have to be a big grandiose thing. It's not more of a to-do list or waking up at 5. It's just feeling your emotions.
Yeah.
Release those emotions that they stored.
Yeah. That's so funny. So I live in my great grandmother's house. I come from a lineage of very strong women, but lots of trauma. And that came from my breath work of not repeating generational narrative and tons of just sadness and whatnot. So that's when, the how or the why was kind of let go, where I'm like, okay, we're just going to process it. And if you're an athlete and you're hearing this like 90 seconds to process it, like just do it. Let's just deal with it. Let's go through it and not carry this for the next 30 years and pass it on. Like, let's just hit it head on.
Yeah. And if you struggle to get there, breath work.
Yeah.
It'll
Yeah.
get you there.
It really will. I'm an open-minded person, and in my experience, I was shocked. What was your first experience where you're like, "Oh my God, this shit works?" Like what was like the point where you're like, this found me?
Oh, yeah, I was doing breath work on our apartment floor. I had SIBO, IBS, I was, infertile, I had concussion syndromes because I was also an athlete, in high school, and I was like I didn't even wanna live. Like, I couldn't even eat a cucumber without bloating up. It
Oh,
was
wow.
awful. Sometimes I didn't go poop for 9 days.
Oh my God.
Like, I was not. My husband and I would take my husband now, my boyfriend at the time would take walks, and I would have to take, like, a break at 1 kilometer. Like, I was withering away.
Wow.
And we were doing everything. Like, we were buying peptides on the black market and injecting them, type of
Okay.
everything, you know? And this was before peptides were a thing.
Yeah, yeah, good for
Um,
you.
and I did a breath work. I started crying, and I noticed, like, the next few days, I felt better. And I was like, "Okay, there's something here." I knew
Mhm.
that the nervous system played a huge role. I was in school for osteopathy, like, we were studying surgical level anatomy and physiology, and I was like, "It's gotta be my nervous system." I know the studies, I'd read Gabor Mate, I know the studies on childhood, adverse experiences and disease. I was like, "I don't wanna end up like that. I'm down the road already." So I did a big breath work, played some music, um probably some Frank Ocean, cried,
Hey.
and I, like, cried, like,
Oh.
full out ugly crying. I hadn't in a really long time, and then, you know, I think we have an intelligence inside us that tells us where to go.
Yes.
You know how you just get a feeling about somebody or someplace or something? I just had a feeling about it. And, it's been now I've helped thousands of other people.
Hmm.
So it's definitely been something that's just made my life infinitely better in all sorts of ways. And, we've certified hundreds of people to be the most nerdy breathwork facilitators out there. Like our students know their anatomy and physiology. I'll tell you that. You're not going to work with them and they're going to be like, "Oh, have you tried square breathing?" Like they're going to help you out. They've got to do a lot of annoying workshops with me, but yeah, I really believe in it. I think it's accessible. I love,
Yeah.
it's a booming industry. It's set to hit $11 billion in 2030.
Okay.
People want to heal, and
Yeah.
they don't just want a pill anymore.
I
No
love
hate
it.
to pills. Sometimes they're amazing. Took
Yeah.
a Tylenol this weekend, but but, sometimes we've got deeper stuff going on, and
Oh
if
yeah.
you're the type of person who thinks, like, "I got some stuff, and I know I haven't healed it, and I think it might be contributing to some of my behaviors, or my ability to connect with another person, or my ability to start my business, my performance, my chronic illness," whatever it is, I bet you breathwork would help.
Amen. Well, let me streamline that whole conversation. If you're wondering if you have stuff, you do. Go unpack it. There's not unscathed. I'll let you be the super empathetic, graceful one. I'll be the one that just runs through the wall. But I mean, because the reality is like no one is not carrying something. There's 0% chance
I
you
say this
walk
to our
through.
students all the time. I'm like, "Don't worry, Tony Robbins still doing stuff that makes him nervous. Still
Yes.
got stuff to heal. Ed
Well, no.
Milet, he's still healing." Like, we
Yes.
look at these people and think just because they have a, certain size business or, they've hit a certain plateau in their healing, like, no, they still got stuff.
No, that's just a good marketing team and aggressive use of funneling. So we can unpack that on a different show. But yeah, no, there's a much better way to do that too. But yes, it is all relative. And I feel like if you're not healing from something, you're probably too complacent and you've built too much of a safe zone for yourself where you're not actually out there
Which
like
is
living and
okay.
feeling. Yeah,
Like, I had to do that.
me too.
I had to build an insular little thing where I
Yep.
wasn't triggered,
Yep.
and then you kind of poke your head out.
Hmm.
And then before you know it, like me, I'm doing stuff that I never thought I'd be able to do. Like, I was infertile, I've got 2 kids now.
Ah, okay.
Um, and it's yeah, you can do anything. If I can do it, anyone else can do it.
Yes. Well, the brain power. I want to let you jam because I want to keep this tight. But really quick thoughts on like Joe Dispenza
Yeah.
or mind thinking power. Like, what's your vibe there?
Oh, 100%,
Okay.
100%. I think I'm a mindset person.
Yeah.
I think that our beliefs will open up you up to a life that you never could have imagined.
Hmm.
However, you've got to pair it with your nervous system and your body. So if you are telling yourself every day, "I'm gonna have a seven-figure business. I'm gonna heal this thing. I'm gonna" whatever you wanna do, and your body is not feeling safe, it's gonna be hard to do, right? So if you can pair it up, pair the mindset, whatever you want, like, think big. You gotta be a big thinker,
Yeah.
but pair it with, like, actually somatically letting go of some blocks there, like shame or anger or fear. Um, you're gonna be limitless.
Yeah. Yep. I completely agree that I think mindset is probably one of the big ones and something we have to continue because like you just said, you have to dream big. We're so used to like being okay with less on so many levels.
No, yeah. I mean, everybody's got mindset blocks. I've got them, you've got them. You just reach the higher level ones. But as someone who's really like pushed through a bunch of them in the last 5 years, I'm making more money than I ever thought I was. I'm a best-selling author, like all these things that I never, ever, 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 ever like I can't even spell. I cannot count. Like I'm missing a lot of the basics.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
anyone can do it. Like when I say that I did it, anyone can do it.
I love that so much. I think you have a lot of gold to offer the world. Even no, we don't need spellers. We have ChatGPT. They can do all that stuff. There's an
Exactly.
app for I don't need to do math. Like there's an app for all that. We can get to like the spiritual shit that you can't be done by a machine. I heard a really good quote that's like I was interviewing a guy that was FBI and forensics, and he's like, "There's one thing that ChatGPT or AI will never say, and that's me too." So anytime you can come through
Mm,
with the human
mhm.
experience, like I'm not worried about being outsourced in any capacity. So well, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't put that to universe. We'll see. We'll stay we'll stay ready for the challenge. Final question, MJ, you're a rock star. What at this point in the game is success to you?
Presence. Yeah, I think presence. That's like I think, time is the new currency. We used to think that having a lot of things and a lot of money was wealth. For me, it's like, I just want time with my kids to jump on the trampoline. I want time to spend with my friends. I think that's the important stuff. I don't even, yeah, that's it. I would never want to be the type of person that has a bunch of money and I don't have time.
Yeah.
So,
amen. It's the only finite resource. When I went from that entrepreneur summit to the breathwork, it was such a wild juxtaposition of, I'm busy, I'm still taking this, but we're here to talk about mental health. And then I'm like, oh my God, let me go to breathwork. And I'm like, these two worlds like have to find an intersection, which I feel like you're kind of doing. Because
I think it's doable. I think,
sure,
the business world has been all men. And men
and
are
it was
amazing.
summit.
Men are amazing. Yeah, I love them, but they function quite differently.
Yes.
Like I remember when I told my husband I wanted to work I did Tim Ferriss's 4-hour work week. And I said to my husband, I'm doing this. Like, I don't want to work all the time. I still to this day work a 4 to 8 hour work week. And my husband was like, that's not doable. And I'm doing it now. So I would just say, like, just having different people who maybe didn't have the opportunity to step into the business world now and have different markers for things. Like, it's not all going to be on a spreadsheet. How happy are you? How many people are you helping? How much time do you have with your kids and your family? Do you have a happy marriage? All of those things play into my business. I want to have it all. I don't want to sacrifice my health for more money or my marriage for more money. And I'm still figuring out how to do all those things at the same time, but I'm well on my way.
Yeah, I love it. And I think that's really important for women to hear that from other women, because there's still so much society pressure around aging or being a mom and having a career and all these things that are still not fully digestible to some parts of our world. So I think it's really good that you not only talk about it.
You got to do a podcast while your dog's barking the entire time.
I know that.
That's just what you got to do.
We're both going to go to dog training school. Once we get all this done, we're going to get breath work for dogs because mine actually run my house. So it's okay. I love it. Well, I hope you come back on the show because I would love to unpack psilocybin, maybe microdosing, fertility. Like, there's some big things you touched on that I didn't intentionally ask about.
Yeah, I would love to.
Okay, because I think it's big and it's some feedback I get. So I'll just put that in. It's on record now, so I'm not just saying it to say it. But tell us where we find you, handles, websites, Instagram, whatever you want to share.
Yeah, Instagram's the best. You can even DM me. I answer my DMs at Being Method Breathwork. My book is called How to Cry, and you can get that where you could buy books online. And our website is beingmethod.ca.
Let's go. Well, I appreciate your time and energy. I want to give a little love to our sponsors, Colorado Clownfish Swim School, where swim lessons and water safety training are for all ages. They believe in life skills through water sports. So go waterproof your family today. Declan James Watches, local and veteran owned. Go check them out. MJ, again, I appreciate your time and energy. I'm excited with what you're doing. And I love that breathwork is becoming so popular. So I'm excited to see your journey continue and grow.
Thank you. I forgot. I'm going to put in, if you're doing show notes, I'll put like a little 30-day breath work in there for everybody so that they can come in and do the emotional. If you're like, I want to have that experience, do the emotional clearing one. That's our one that's done like hundreds of times a day. People love it. It helps you just process any emotion you're storing in your body.
If you're new to it, just go check out this. Like I said, it was a game changer for me. I've done a lot. So if you're curious, go lean in. So I appreciate you offering that up. I think that'll be a great step one for a lot of people. All right. Be sure to tune us, check us out wherever you get your podcast. And then I will have this video live on YouTube. So like and subscribe and go check out all of MJ's handles as well. Cheers.
Thank you for joining Turmeric and Tequila with your host, Kristen Olson. Tune in next time, and don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.